What if everything you thought you knew about, well, love, what if it wasn't just a feeling from your heart,
Hmm.
but something shaped by forces much bigger, maybe even
Wow.
more insidious than you realized?
Yeah, forces that go way beyond romance.
Exactly. Forces influencing not just your love life, but the actual survival, the advancement of your whole community.
That's a heavy concept right off the bat.
It is. And today, for you, our Lion's Den fam listeners, we're taking a really deep dive into a powerful lecture by Dr. Amos Wilson,
A very potent one.
specifically his insights on Black male and female relationships from the Akobin Kwataki YouTube channel.
Right.
Our mission here is to unpack his, let's be honest, challenging perspective. It's about love, community, identity.
And all the surprising connections between them, often uncomfortable connections.
Definitely. We're here to lay out the core facts of his argument, really help you grasp the implications he brings to light.
And it's crucial to understand where he starts.
Yeah.
Because before Dr. Wilson even touches on relationships directly,
Yeah.
he lays out this foundational vision. It's all about community empowerment.
Okay.
And it's not just like an intro, it sets the stage. It contextualizes everything else he says about love and connection.
So personal stuff doesn't happen in a bubble.
Exactly. He emphasizes that personal relationships are, completely tied up with the collective well-being, the community's progress.
Gotcha. Understanding that framework is essential then.
It really is.
Okay, so let's unpack that right from the start. He opens up saying he wants to talk male-female relations,
Mm,
but immediately, boom, he broadens it. He's talking about the survival and the advancement of the Black community.
yeah, it's not an afterthought for him. It's the foundation.
So it's a principle, right? What happens between individuals, between partners, parents, and kids? It's not just private.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It has these huge collective implications. Ripples through generations, he argues.
Wow. Okay. And how does he make that concrete? Because community advancement can sound a bit abstract.
Well, that's where he brings in a very real-world example. The Harlem Graphic Arts Center.
Ah, okay.
This isn't just theory for him. He identifies himself as a part owner.
Right.
He describes it, practically a print center, copy center, but then adds it's meant to house a big collection of books.
Books. What kind?
He says both Afrocentric books and other general books, which immediately tells you.
It's about more than just business.
Exactly. It's about knowledge, identity, building intellectual capital right there in the community.
And he's specific about the location, too, isn't he? Invites people to visit.
He does. Gives the address, 125th Street near 7th Avenue, points out it's right down the street from the Apollo Theater on the same side.
That really grounds it, doesn't it? Makes it tangible, not just an idea, but a place.
Absolutely. It turns the vision into something real, something people can see and engage with. It shows his commitment, I think.
So this center, its purpose, goes way beyond just making money.
Oh, definitely.
Oh,
He explicitly says it's an attempt not only to build a business, but to build an institution.
An institution.
Mm.
That's a powerful word.
It is. And the goal. To be an example for the youth and others and adults of what can be done if, people work together.
So collective action, self-determination, that's the theme coming through.
Absolutely. He states it very clearly. It's necessary for us to build an economy to provide jobs for ourselves and for our children.
And this center is step one.
Our first step in doing that, how he puts it, it's practical, but also deeply philosophical.
It's about controlling your own resources, right? Get access to our own monies and use those monies to our advantage.
Precisely. It's not just a small business plan. It's strategic, building economic power from within.
And it's not just jobs and money, though. You mentioned books. But is there more?
Yeah, he adds that the center will also give courses there that will provide education that is relevant to the Black community as well.
Okay, so it's holistic.
Yeah.
Economics, knowledge, culture, building a whole ecosystem.
That's a great way to put it, a self-sustaining ecosystem.
So this whole introduction about the center, it's not a side note.
Not at all. It positions economic and institutional strength as fundamental, absolutely essential for healthy individual relationships, for the community's overall health.
So the health of our love lives is tied to the health of our community's infrastructure.
That's exactly his argument. They're inseparable.
Yeah.
And understanding that deep connection, that context.
That's the key to understanding what he says next about love itself.
Precisely. Because he then pivots to this radical reframing of love.
And this is where it gets really challenging, I think, for a lot of people. He basically says what we think of as natural love isn't.
Right. He flat out challenges the common idea that love is this, isolated natural feeling that just flows out of your heart.
Instead, he says,
He states it unequivocally. Love is rooted in a political social system.
wow, that hits hard.
Yeah.
So love is influenced by.
By your own experience as an individual, yes, but also by your experience as a people. It immediately broadens the picture beyond just like personal chemistry.
There's a bigger hand at play.
A much bigger, often unseen hand.
And this leads him into psychology, right? Critiquing the standard approaches.
Yes, this is a critical point. He brings up his book, The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child,
To argue what?
to argue that you just cannot take standard developmental psychology textbooks and apply them wholesale to black children. They're not universally applicable.
Why not? What's the core reason?
Because, he says, black people have a unique history.
Hmm.
He really emphasizes the distinct histories black child versus white child, black parent versus white parent.
The historical context is everything.
It's the bedrock for him. That unique history shapes their psychological development in unique ways.
So it's about the context of your life, your history, the political and social position.
Right. The position of black people in America is not the political social position of whites. It's fundamentally different.
Therefore,
Therefore, the psychology of black people flows from the history and experience of black people. It can't just be imported.
and he warns against doing that, against imposing an external psychology.
Very strongly. He says imposing a psychology from another people's whose history and experience has been different will inevitably create problems.
And not just in psychology.
No, he extends it to education, business, anything else that is relevant to us. It's a call for context-specific approaches across the board.
A total paradigm shift, really. Context is king.
You could say that, yeah.
So how does this societal impact play out in families, in those intimate spaces?
Well, he argues that the love relationships within the black family, mother-child, father-child, siblings, all of it is shaped by the political social situation in which we live.
Even things we think are purely private.
Exactly. He insists this must be taken into consideration.
Does he give an example? Because that's still a bit abstract.
He does, and it's a really stark one. Painful, but clear. He talks about issues within the family around skin tone.
Like darker or lighter.
Yes, or hair texture, good hair, bad hair. If those kinds of distinctions and judgments exist within a family,
What does it mean?
it means, according to him, that racism and the political social system has entered into the parent
Wow. So the parent internalizes it.
and then transfers that racism even in the way he or she relates to the children, creating these specific, often negative self-perceptions in the child.
That's incredibly powerful. Systemic issues becoming internal family dynamics.
Precisely. And this is where he differs sharply from, say, traditional psychology that might look at parent-child dynamics in isolation.
He insists you can't isolate it for black families.
Right. He says, when discussing the black parent and child, we must talk about that black Pyrrhus relationship to the white world.
Pyrrhus relationship, what does that mean exactly?
Think Pyrrhic victory, a win that costs so much, it's basically a defeat. He's suggesting that interactions within the dominant white world, even seemingly small ones, come at a huge internal cost.
A cost to identity, to healthy love.
Exactly. It includes their political position, how black people have historically been treated, all of it.
And all these external factors influence how a parent relates to their child.
Influence, to a good extent, he says. It shapes what they tell their kids, how they prepare them for the world, even how they show love. It's heavy stuff.
It really is. So the big takeaway here, Lion's Den fam, is that love, it's not just a feeling.
No, it's deeply rooted in our social and political systems,
Yeah.
a reflection of our social position, our history.
Especially for black relationships. Your social life and existence itself is going to influence the way you relate to everyone close to you.
It puts a completely new lens on intimacy, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Which leads us naturally to his next big point, love as a community imperative.
Right. He shifts perspective again, emphasizing a really fundamental truth. A child is ultimately a gift to the community itself.
A gift to the community, not just to the parents.
Exactly. It challenges that whole idea of parental ownership. You don't just have a child for yourself, he says. The child just does not belong to you as a mother or as a father.
That reframes parenting completely. It's a contribution.
A profound communal contribution.
Moving from individual possession to collective responsibility.
Precisely. A child is born into a community of people, he says, and their behavior. It impacts everyone.
Makes sense. If a kid becomes delinquent or crime-oriented, it affects the whole community. Crime rates, social services.
Everything. So the community has to share in educating that child, supporting that child, feeding that child, providing jobs, protection.
And if the child struggles?
The community has to step up with rehabilitative services and supportive services.
Yeah.
It's an interwoven responsibility.
A village raising the child, basically.
In essence, yes. And the flip side is also true. The community benefits immensely from well-raised children.
How so?
Well, children must ultimately grow up to contribute to the community. Their survival, the family's survival, it all depends on the community support.
Okay.
So the greatest gift that a parent can give to a community, he argues, is the gift of beautiful, healthy children.
Children who are?
Well-behaved, know themselves, have a firm identity, and can love healthily and love in a righteous type of manner.
So being a good parent is a form of community building.
A major contribution to the advancement of a community and to its survival, according to him. Raising good citizens, not just good kids.
He also talks about the negative consequences, right? The long-term impact of unhealthy love.
Oh, yeah. He makes a really striking claim about generational scars. Says something like, the sins of the first generation are visited now and until the 14th generation.
14th generation. That's intense.
It is. He says it can take sometimes 3 and 4 or more generations for a family to live out the hate between a mother and a father. Generational trauma, basically.
And that trauma ripples outwards.
Absolutely. Creates a ripple effect on the whole community. Kids suffering from a lack of love from their own parents.
They might become delinquent, struggle in school.
Exactly. Fail to reach potential, get into trouble themselves, maybe early pregnancy. All these things affect community services, community resources, and the overall quality of life in that community.
It's a cycle. Individual brokenness leading to societal strain.
A profound cycle. And because of this deep interconnection.
He insists that love between partners, between people, isn't just personal.
Right. It's rooted in community and is necessary for community functioning. Romantic love is not a selfish undertaking.
It shouldn't be seen as just between the two people involved.
No, because it will influence more people than just you and your partner.
Yeah.
It influences the community itself.
And therefore, the community has a stake in it.
That's his controversial conclusion. The community has a right to concern itself with the so-called nature of love.
The community gets to define love.
He suggests it has a vested interest and a right to, yes, for its own survival and well-being.
That's a powerful thought. And he connects love to other community-building concepts.
He does. He lists things like oneness, unity, being together, identity, commitment, caring and sharing, belonging, commonality. Love is part of that cluster.
The glue that holds it all together.
Exactly. That which creates a community, supports a community, and maintains a community. He even compares its uniting power to blood relations, saying love can be even stronger.
Making the community resilient, able to grow.
Yes.
And then he delivers this really provocative idea, connecting love to power dynamics.
This is where it gets really geopolitical almost.
Yeah.
He asserts that the love that we have for one another is the greatest threat to the people who rule over us.
A threat. How so?
He argues that for rulers who rule over African people the world over, to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way.
So undermining healthy love is a strategy of control.
That's his accusation, linking personal intimacy directly to power structures. It's a deliberate strategy of oppression, he suggests.
Wow. And that reinforces the idea that you can't separate love from the political context.
Absolutely. He hammers that home. You cannot separate that love from what is going on in the world politically and socially. Because the nature of that love is defined by the political social circumstances.
So if you're having problems in your relationships,
he suggests perhaps a good part of it is because you have not taken time to understand the nature of the political social situation in which you live.
Because we're taught love is just personal.
Right. We're made to think that your love is merely the concern of you and your partner and not rooted in what is going on in the world. It shifts the focus from just individual flaws.
It makes our personal struggles part of a much bigger story, a systemic story.
Exactly.
Okay, so with that huge framework, let's talk about how love is actually taught, how we learn it. Because he says it's learned, right?
Yes, he directly refutes that common belief that love is just natural and just flows out of living. Unequivocally, he says, you have to learn how to love.
It's a skill, not just an instinct.
Right.
And how do we learn it, especially when we're young?
He gives really relatable examples. Teenagers learning love by listening to these records all the time.
Uh-huh. Love songs.
Yeah, where idols singing about love push these really dramatic feelings. You make me feel so good. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I can't live without you. That kind of thing.
And it's not just music.
No, he mentions poetry. Popular TV shows from back then like Dallas and Knots Landing. We see them as entertainment.
But he says they're actually teaching us.
Actually teaching you what love is about, how you're supposed to feel when you're in love.
And his point is, if we weren't taught that,
If there was no one around to tell you that, you wouldn't feel it. You wouldn't feel loved. It's a learned response, shaped by culture.
wow. And then he drops that historical bombshell about romantic love itself.
Yeah, this is surprising for many people. Romantic love, as we understand it in the West,
Is how old?
is only in this culture about 200 or 300 years old.
That's it, really.
That's what he states. Before the 1700s, people didn't marry for love.
What's didn't?
In fact, he says they saw love, what we call love, as a terrible basis for marriage. They fought against it
So why did they marry?
for very different reasons, practical ones. Maintaining family lines, maintaining property, political alliances, class associations.
Strategic unions, basically. Not
Yeah.
about passion.
Right. He describes how spouses might be picked out for you at birth. You might not even see them till the wedding day.
Unbelievable.
Marital choices were negotiations between parents, clans, families. Because as he points out, families recognize that when marriage takes place, the families are married as well.
You marry the whole family, not just the person.
Exactly. And the family's interest came first. It was a societal building block, not just an emotional choice.
So this romantic ideal we have now,
Yeah.
where did it come from?
He says it was largely built on novels and poems emerging from the courts of Europe. That's where courting comes from.
Ah.
And then, as society changed, industrialization happened, families started breaking up into smaller units.
People started choosing partners based on...
Based more on emotions and feelings. Individual choice took over. That's the relatively recent origin story.
Fascinating. So this history leads him to a critique of our modern situation.
Yes, a crucial observation about the modern dilemma. He says quite bluntly, merely marrying someone because you love them does not guarantee the unity of the marriage.
And the proof is in the pudding, sort of.
Kind of. He points to the high divorce rates. Half of those marriages or more fall apart. And even among those still together, half of those are living in conflict and hostility.
Ouch. So that reality.
Must make you think, he argues, that there is something wrong in the way we define love in this system and in our community. Our current definition might be insufficient.
So what's the solution then, according to him?
It's a direct call to action, especially for you, Lion's Den fam. He calls for the community to redefine what love is and what love is about.
The community needs to teach a new kind of love.
Yes. He says it's in the interest as young people that the community teaches you a new form of romantic love and loving one another.
And this redefinition would achieve what?
It will enhance your ability to stay with the man you love and to stay with the woman you love. Keep families together, develop healthy people, and build a healthy community. It's about resilience.
Building strength through a better understanding of connection?
Exactly. And he urges critical thinking about the media we consume.
Don't just dance to the records.
Right. Take out some time and think about what kind of love is this record projecting. Ask yourself, is this productive? For me, my partner, my future kids?
Because some songs might feel good, but actually be destructive.
That's his warning. They may ultimately destroy you and destroy your love relationship if they promote unhealthy ideas. The community has a deep and abiding interest in how love is defined and expressed.
Okay, so moving beyond culture, he then dives into basic human instincts. Freud.
Yeah, he brings in Sigmund Freud's theory of the it, or the id. This part of the psyche, Freud theorized, contains these core drives.
And there are two major ones he focuses on.
Two main ones, yes. A love instinct, sometimes called eros, and death instinct, thanatos. It's a foundational psychological idea he uses.
The death instinct. That sounds kind of dark and paradoxical.
He acknowledges that. The idea that we have an instinct moving us towards death seems odd.
But he says,
It's not as paradoxical as it sounds. He connects it to the simple fact that we are born to die, and in a sense, we die from living. It's an inherent drive towards an end state.
okay, interesting philosophical take. Well, let's start with eros, the love instinct, life instinct.
Right. He says it's expressed, obviously, sexually and through reproduction, which leads to the maintenance of the species.
But it's broader than just sex and babies.
Much broader. Love Eros involves the preservation of oneself, your body, your family, your partner, your community. It's the drive to preserve those things and help them grow and develop.
Life-affirming energy.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
shows up in procreation, giving birth, reproducing, maintaining the life of the group,
And it's tied to growth.
inherently. Because life is about growth, he states. It's about development, transcendence, enhancement, fulfilling potential.
Like a baby growing, love enables that potential.
Exactly. He uses that simple example, a baby growing from inches to feet. Love allows that potential to express itself, to actualize
Wow.
itself. It's the engine.
The engine of growth, not just for people, but for communities too.
Yes. When healthy love exists in a community, it's the element that makes that community grow and develop and fulfill its potential.
And the opposite is also true.
Yes. A community falling apart, people hurting each other, that indicates an absence of the right kind of love, or that the love instinct has been misdirected.
So what are the qualities of this healthy Eros love?
He describes it vividly. It's geared toward survival, protection, and liberation, freeing people instead of restricting them.
Okay.
It moves toward discovery, goodness, and healing. It's reconstructive. It repairs, rebuilds, stimulates growth.
And it feels good, right? He mentions euphoria.
Yeah, its own natural high, its own euphoria. This elation comes from feeling loved, feeling safe, experiencing growth. It shows up in a thriving community.
That's how luck.
Feeling safe, open conversation, shared beauty and euphoria, smiles, happiness, freedom, honesty. This love takes you beyond yourself. It transcends. It's infectious.
Spreads positive energy, and he connects this to self-love, even mentions a famous song.
He does. Whitney Houston's The Greatest Love of All. He uses it to highlight that core message. You cannot love others without self-love.
Can't love healthily if you hate yourself?
Exactly. If you're filled with hatred and hostility towards yourself, self-knowledge comes through the self, but you need a loving environment for it to truly bloom.
Hateful people do fall in love, don't they?
He acknowledges that, but warns it's going to be a peculiar kind of love,
Peculiar how?
ultimately destructive.
Yeah.
It is going to destroy them and the people they love. He says many people are destroyed in the name of love because the hate is just covered with a veneer of love.
A disguise.
A thin disguise. True love comes from love, is liberating, allows potential. But love that comes from hate, it's destructive, restricts, is possessive, degrades.
So to learn healthy love, you need to be raised with it.
With love, and in a loving sort of way, he says, to love lovely people and lovely children.
Okay, that covers Eros. What about the other side? Thanatos. The death or hate instinct.
Right. He revisits Freud's idea of an inherent need or desire to return to his origins. Connects it to dust thou art and to dust thou shalt return. A primal drive for dissolution.
And this instinct expresses itself how?
In terms of hate. Plain and simple. When you hate, you often want to kill them, destroy, hurt, cause pain.
Other forms of hate.
Resentment, hostility, hostile aggression, and what he calls disenhancement or disenchantment, actively holding back someone else's growth.
The opposite of Eros, which encourages growth.
Exactly. Love leads to harmony, hatred leads to disharmony, destruction.
And this has societal consequences too, not just personal feelings.
Big time. Hatred brings about ultimately the death and destruction of other people. He points to phoboses that lock us into ghettos, forced schooling, systemic limitations.
And he connects this to a kind of cosmic law, cause and effect.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. He says the world is a perfect place in the sense that it operates with precision, lawfulness between a cause and an effect. Meaning if you carry hate, resentment, anger, fear inside, the law of perfection says you are going to create a world that is destructive. Your internal state manifests externally.
You reap what you sow, basically.
Pretty much. He even ties it to spiritual teachings. Jesus saying, love thy neighbor, greet your enemy with love.
His point being
that a nation of godly people is not a nation that is racist, not one that destroys the earth through its people. The fact that black people face problems, even in a Christian nation, shows a lack of true and righteous love systemically.
And this lack of righteous love has global implications, weapons, war.
Yes. He points to political leaders. Reagan, Gorbachev were current then, who, without this righteous love, generate guns and weapons that threaten to destroy the whole human race. These weapons come from hate, fear, anger, pride, resentment.
Internal states leading to global threats. And this hate instinct, it can turn inward.
That's the scary part, yeah.
No.
Is no respecter of persons. It can turn around against you.
Yeah.
Self-hatred leads to depression, feeling worthless.
And suicide.
He views suicide as aggression turned inward. Someone who really wanted to kill somebody else but lacked the courage, turns it on themselves. Hate leads to self-alienation, self-destruction, decadence.
Decadence, the opposite of growth and transcendence.
All right.
And hate has its own kind of pleasure, a euphoria.
And a natural euphoria, he calls it. Chilling idea. Pleasure not from self-love, but from dealing with self-hatred by hurting others, slandering, embarrassing, conquering.
And this false high can lead to
Reliance on drugs and alcohols. Or it manifests as sadism pleasure from hurting others, like rapists seeking degradation. Or masochism pleasure from being hurt, dominated, degraded.
And he links this back to historical trauma, enslavement.
Explicitly, he suggests these psychological patterns often stem from those experiences, becoming ingrained adaptations.
This is incredibly challenging material to digest, Lion's Den fam. He's saying it's not enough just to feel love.
Right. It is not enough to love. The love must be based on the right foundation. Many relationships fail despite strong feelings because
People love for the wrong reasons. Looks, sweetness, how they make you feel.
exactly. Those superficial things, those feelings alone are not enough for a long-term relationship, for raising kids
And
healthily.
have to look deeper at the roots.
You have to understand upon what kind of roots that love is growing from, because he warns it might be growing out of hate, resentment, and unhealthy situation.
And even if the feelings are intense.
Those feelings and those longings and those needs will ultimately destroy the one you love and destroy the children that you claim to love. The foundation is toxic.
So love growing from hatred is...
Ultimately, selfish and self-centered. It doesn't see the other person's humanity, doesn't recognize them as an individual. It destroys them for your own needs.
And people often choose partners who reinforce their own issues.
Yes, people fall for those who help you maintain your self-destructive nature, like shared addictions or a shared tendency to fight and hate.
And they avoid people who might challenge that.
They avoid straight people who don't smoke, people who don't use drugs, because those friends are often your worst enemies. They don't offer truth. They enable self-deception.
Keeping you stuck. And he ties these unhealthy patterns directly to the influence of European culture.
He does. He argues that the European has duped us into self-hatred.
Hating what specifically?
Our heritage, our skin, our hair, features like noses and lips, even Africa itself and the whole African heritage. This deep self-hatred leads to
Loving people who don't remind you of who you are. Preferring those who fit imposed standards.
exactly. And worse, it can lead to moving in our love toward people who can help us escape from that which we hate.
Even loving your enemy.
Even loving our enemies, he says, if those enemies can take us away from ourselves. He mentions things like overeating, oversexing, drugs as destructive escapes.
And in an oppressed situation, he says, your world gets turned upside down.
Your world must be reversed. He uses the global power dynamic, the 10% ruling the 90% by keeping them in confusion and madness, deceiving them about their own wealth.
And applies this to the Black community.
Specifically, he states, the Black community here would be the 9th richest nation on earth, yet you call yourself poor.
Why the disconnect?
Because the love you have makes you spend the money with your enemy. Self-hatred makes you love the things that destroy them, and you will hate the things that advance your growth.
Like hating, studying, loving addiction.
It's a tragic paradox, funneling resources away from self-advancement.
And the rulers need to maintain this. They need to suppress knowledge.
Must rob you of all of these things, learning, math, research, philosophy, to stay in their place.
And he sees this dynamic mirrored in personal relationships.
Chillingly, yes. A man might rob the woman of any intellectual interpersonal growth because he sees that is the only way he can rule over her.
He's seen this happen. Men holding women back from education.
Yes, husbands, boyfriends giving women such a hard time they had to leave college, maintaining control through suppression, not love.
So the euphoria in these unhealthy relationships, it's an escape.
An escape from self-hatred, he argues, by focusing our minds and our energies and our obsession upon another person, idealizing them, trying to live through them.
We avoid looking at ourselves.
It helps us to avoid knowing who and what we are, keeps us from hating ourselves.
And when that person leaves,
That self-hatred now comes back to haunt us again, leading to depression, suicidal thoughts. The euphoria wasn't real. It was based on the fact that they have taken us from truth and taking us from reality.
hence love is blind. Blindness as a coping mechanism.
A dangerous coping mechanism.
Okay, let's shift to the fear instinct now. How does that play into relationships and society?
He starts simply, we often hate the things we fear. Aggression often stems from fear.
But then he talks about something peculiar, loving the aggressor.
Yes, this very peculiar thing, love for the aggressor or identity with the aggressor, where one loves the one that persecutes them.
And he challenges listeners directly on this.
Very directly.
Mhm.
Confront the history, slavery, discrimination, then ask the hard questions. Why is it that we want to marry these people? Sleep with them, live with them, be like them.
Why do we want hair like them, noses like them, skin color like them, talk like them, and walk like them after they have done all of this?
And the knockout punch. Why do we love them more than we love ourselves? It's brutal self-examination he's demanding.
How does he explain this psychologically? He uses Freud again.
An analogy with the Oedipus complex. The boy identifies with the feared father to avoid punishment.
And applied to race relations.
Black people, feeling weak, powerless against the white man, see him as a source of everything: gifts, jobs, protection. So despite the history of hurt,
They align with him rather than destroy him.
it's a psychological adaptation to power imbalance, he suggests.
And the oppressor reinforces this by blaming the victim's difference.
Exactly. Convinces the oppressed their suffering is because they're different color, features, origin.
Which motivates the oppressed to.
To assimilate. Become as much like him as possible, hoping to escape suffering, no longer be a victim.
Leading to things like abstracting identity, don't see me as black, see me as a person.
Right, but Dr. Wilson counters, true love is a person who sees you for all of your blackness and still does what loves you. A call for authentic self-acceptance.
But this drive to assimilate leads to self-hatred within the group.
Yes, and this distorted love for the oppressor. An unhealthy kind of love that takes you outside of ourselves, making you false and unreal and untrue and dishonest and deceptive, unknowing.
And a lot of this love is driven by fear. Fear of rejection.
Fundamentally, yes. Based on fear.
Yeah.
Fear of rejection. His example. Having a baby just to keep a man.
I figured if I didn't have it, he'll leave me.
He calls that a misuse of the child. You can't use kids as relationship glue. It's fear-driven, damaging.
And fearful people, they spread fear.
They love in a way where they make other people fear them, terrorize partners, kids, neighborhoods, perpetuating the cycle.
He also mentions a fear of suffering, a generational thing.
Yeah, contrasting maybe older generations who learn to endure with the newer generation thinking, I have a right to be happy all the time.
And trying to escape suffering leads where?
Ironically, into destruction. Chasing synthetic happiness, drugs, alcohol, sex, which ultimately keeps you out of school, stops growth, destroys families.
So the ultimate fear is?
A fear of self-knowledge. People love those who help them avoid knowing themselves, avoid confronting reality, especially that African stuff, their heritage.
This fear also shows up as fear of intimacy, commitment.
Definitely. Fear of intimacy is about exposing oneself to being hurt. Leads to hiding, deception, even physical issues like frigidity or impotence.
And fear of commitment.
Often stems from self-doubt, self-hatred, and inferiority complex. Wanting to appear successful, but fearing commitment will expose perceived failures.
Like inability to provide, protect, educate.
Right, so they love people who don't demand anything from them.
Yeah.
It's a defense against feeling inadequate.
He warns about that weekend love trap, too.
Yeah, getting high, having fun every weekend. Then reality hits. Marriage isn't 7 weekend days per week. Responsibility forces self-reflection. Can I do it?
And sometimes the partner doesn't want intimacy either.
Because their love depends upon their idealization of you. They fall in love with the feeling, the idea, and don't want reality spoiling it.
Leading to rationalizations like, I can change him with enough love.
Which he calls a woman's greatest mistake and deep self-deception. Dangerous illusions.
And this happiness based on fear and hate, it serves the oppressor.
That's his devastating conclusion. Happiness gained from hatred and fear serves to maintain your oppression, to strengthen your pusher, to maintain your non-productiveness.
If happiness is just a feeling, like a drug high,
it leads to self-slavery, degradation, crime, all while enriching the oppressor. A tragic cycle.
And he gets very specific about economics here, doesn't he? For you, Lion's Den fam.
Very specific. Black people wanting love from Europeans so badly they forget to spend the money with ourselves.
Buying expensive things to impress white folk.
Right. Showing I can spend like they do. External validation. Which means athletes, entertainers making millions.
Have to end up giving it back to the other people, cannot give it to their own.
Exactly. He criticizes buying foreign goods despite disrespect from those nations' leaders. Points out Black artists generate huge money in music.
But the companies get the real wealth.
Over 60% of the money. but the company itself that gets the real dust.
Yeah.
Billions flowing away that could build a community.
Why? Because people are distracted, caught up in the music.
Caught up, taken outside of who you are, distracted from collective economic power.
So this happiness based on self-hatred, it only strengthens others.
Yes. Defining happiness is buying white products, living in white areas, feeling they don't treat me like I'm colored.
Which means
Taking all of your talent, all of your resources,
Mhm.
everything then has to be given to the people who oppress you.
His conclusion is stark. Many are destroyed by this feel-good definition of happiness.
It's a profound indictment, trading self-actualization for synthetic validation.
Okay, wow. That was heavy. After dissecting all that, unhealthy love, fear, self-hatred, does he offer pathways to healthy love, to
Yeah.
growth?
He does. He reframes marriage itself, not as an endpoint, but
An opportunity for self-growth and self-discovery.
exactly. And having kids, too, an opportunity for further maturing, further personality development. It's a continuous journey.
How does marriage facilitate growth?
If you engage honestly, he says, your partner acts like a mirror to help you see the real you.
Showing you your flaws and weaknesses.
Yes, but allowing for correction. A good, honest relationship with someone understanding, not condemning, not over-idealizing.
Provides what?
A real natural and healthy kind of love. This acceptance allows you to continue to grow and develop, not get stuck.
So the key is honesty, openness, lack of fear.
When people are not afraid, not hiding things, not filled with self-hatred, and genuinely want to be honest and open, then
They will grow in strength and power and love, and their families will grow beautifully and wonderfully.
right. Even parenting offers a chance to reflect on your own childhood, maybe correct the things that happened to us, though he warns against overcompensating and spoiling kids.
But the prerequisite is entering the relationship from a healthy place, not fear.
Absolutely. Because if you enter out of fear and self-hatred, that escapist love he described,
Yeah.
the marriage will be filled with conflict, unproductive conflict.
And he describes specific patterns of unproductive conflict, unrealistic expectations.
Several. Like entering marriage defensively, trying to defend yourself and defend your weaknesses instead of facing and solving them. That defense becomes an offense against the other person.
What about narcissistic love?
He identifies that loving only yourself, demanding the other person lose their individuality. He even warns about some who adopt African tradition narcissistically.
Like the African king demanding total submission.
Yes. He calls that a mythical African concept. Unrealistic, says it doesn't save your marriage. It's often reactionary, born from hate, not true love, demanding self-sacrifice from the partner.
What other types? Dependent love.
Loving out of deprivation, seeking a partner to fix everything, make up for all lacks. They get so caught up in their needs, the other person is just supposed to serve them.
Which is unrealistic.
A sign of madness and craziness, he says bluntly. No one person cannot be everything to you. He criticizes expecting partners to fulfill impossible images, like demanding a black man provide like a white man without acknowledging he's in bondage systemically.
There are also defender-consumer types.
People afraid of being adult men or women, seeking a daddy in disguise or mama in disguise, a sugar daddy but to be taken care of, consuming things to fill an inner emptiness.
And the master-slave dynamic.
A really destructive pattern. The oppressed becomes the oppressor at home. The white man dominates me. I'm going to be the boss in my house.
So if they feel enslaved externally, they enslave internally.
His wife is going to be a slave to him, and his children are going to be a slave. Such a person can only love someone they see as weaker, controllable, slave, a dumb woman.
Tragic mirroring of oppression. What about phallic love?
The Mr. Man type. No femininity in him whatsoever. Can only love if the partner constantly validates his manhood. Purely external validation.
So the antidote to all this, rejecting illusions, seeking truth.
Yes, true love cannot maintain that person in their illusion. It must be truthful. Believing enough love or changing someone is that woman's greatest mistake. Deep self-deception.
Don't rationalize bad behavior. Don't blame kids.
Be truthful as well to the individual and to yourself. That's the foundation for growth.
So, pulling this all together, what does this mean for you, our Lion's Den fam? We've gone deep into Dr. Wilson's perspective.
A really profound, often challenging perspective, unpacking how politics, society, history, they don't just influence love, they define it, maintain it.
From community economics to internalized self-hatred, our intimate lives reflect a much bigger picture.
Often an oppressive reality, It's a lot to take in, but it fundamentally shifts how we might see things.
Dr. Wilson's work really pushes us, doesn't it, to question where we learned about love, to maybe redefine it.
Not as just a feeling or an escape, but as something conscious, learned. A communal force for growth, preservation, liberation.
It's a call to examine everything we thought we knew about connection.
So the final thought for you to chew on. If love truly is a gift to the community,
And if our current ideas about it are tangled up with fear and self-hatred, like Dr. Wilson suggests.
what specific steps can you, listening now, take today to start redefining love in your own life, your own circles?
How can you help transform it from something potentially destructive into a force for collective liberation, for advancement?
What's the one key thing from this deep dive you'll carry with you as you navigate your relationships, as you contribute to your community? Something to really reflect on.